Hi Aries, welcome to your love reading for April 2019. This is Elizabeth from channelguidance.com. I've already shuffled the deck, so let's go ahead and begin. This is for confirmation, but first let's get you 9 cards from this deck. This is a love reading for the sign of Aries for April 2019. The first card that you have, Aries, is the 5 of Wands. Love reading for the sign of Aries for April. The Sun. Love reading for the sign of Aries for April. 7 of Swords. Love reading for the sign of Aries for April. 4 of Pentacles. Love reading for the sign of Aries for April. The Chariot. Love reading for the sign of Aries for April. King of Cups. Love reading for the sign of Aries for April. 2 of Swords. Love reading for the sign of Aries for April. 4 of Cups. Love reading for the sign of Aries for April. 4 of Wands. Okay, what's the most important thing that Aries needs to hear about their love life for April 2019? The message that you have, Aries, is the King of Pentacles. So we have an earth sign here, which would be Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, male or female, sun, moon, or rising. So for those who are single, it could be that there is an earth sign coming into your life. This could be a really strong potential partner because it's the main energy. But for those who are already coupled, this can represent you if you have a moon or a rising and earth sign, or it can be your partner. So we'll come back to this to see how it ties in with the rest of the reading. Also, if you would like to get a private reading with me, just go to my website, channelguidance.com. I'll put a link down below. Also a link to my Facebook. Okay, so let's see what you have going on here. You have the 5 of Wands, the Sun, and the 7 of Swords. So for some of you, you are struggling with something right now. The 5 of Wands is a challenge. It can represent kind of 2 different things here, because I mean with the 7 of Swords, it kind of changes the message a little bit. Let's start with the first message. For the 5 of Wands, it can be that right now in your love life, you're having a lot of arguments, a lot of disputes in your relationship with your partner, maybe, you know, with your spouse. This represents conflict and just kind of pettiness. But the 5 of Wands can also mean that perhaps, you know, there is some type of competition for you, because you do have the 7 of Swords, which can represent deceit. I mean, this won't be for everyone, but as soon as I pulled this card, I feel like for some of you, not everyone, you're dealing with some type of competition. Like perhaps you're just dating someone or you're interested in someone, and there's someone else there that you kind of view as your competition. I mean, the 7 of Swords can be that, you know, there is some deceit going on. But even if that is happening in your relationship, you do have the Sun right in the middle of all this. So the Sun, this is actually things turning out in your favor. Success, love, positive energy. But the 5 of Wands can very well, for those of you where maybe you're dealing with an ex, or maybe there is, you know, there is no competition. The 5 of Wands can definitely represent that someone is holding back from you. Someone is, you know, kind of fighting perhaps, you know, their own ego. They're fighting something within themselves. And the 7 of Swords ties into this, because the 7 of Swords can represent self-deceit. Maybe someone has been denying their feelings for you. Maybe they're trying to kind of push you away. The 7 of Swords is sticking your head in the sand. But with the Sun being here, this is actually turning out in your favor. So again, if someone has been kind of keeping you at a distance, pushing you away, telling you they don't care, when you feel that it's not true, the Sun is promising you that things are going to change in a positive way. Now, in the next row here, you have the 4 of Pentacles, the Chariot, and the King of Cups. So the 4 of Pentacles, I mean, definitely ties in with the 5 of Wands, because the 4 of Pentacles, this is someone who's being really stubborn and someone who's resisting. This is someone who's refusing to change, but ironically, right next to it, you have the Chariot, which is a card of movement. So it's almost like the cards are saying someone who refuses to change, maybe someone who maybe is not ready for a higher level of commitment, or maybe somebody just not want to change their ways. I do see change here. The Chariot does mean that there's going to be a lot of movement around your love life, perhaps involving someone who's a water sign. Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, male or female, sun, moon, or rising. It can even represent you if you have a moon or rising in a water sign. What I see here is just that someone is holding back from you, and they're being really stubborn. When it's this specific card, someone will not budge. They won't budge, and it could be that maybe they're not contacting you. It could be that they're kind of resisting maybe leaving another partner or resisting a higher level of commitment. But the main energy here is the major arcana. This is the victory card, and this is a lot of movement around your love life. It does mean though that you have to stay in the driver's seat, that you have to stay very positive, and you have to really keep your eye on the prize, because I feel like somewhere where there is conflict in your love life, or maybe someone is struggling, they're fighting something within themselves, maybe they're even lying to themselves. You have positive energy lined up here. The Sun's the most positive card in the deck, and it's promising you success somewhere where you're struggling in your love life. Now down here, yeah, I mean, there's more stubborn energy. The Two of Swords. This is probably one of the most complicated cards, and it does mean that you're kind of stuck a little bit right now in your love life. It does mean that you're stuck because someone is refusing to take action. So I mean, like basically like this whole row right here, there's some type of conflict, and somebody maybe is refusing to make a decision. So this definitely ties in with the Four of Pentacles. Someone is refusing to see something, and this means that there's something really complicated going on. So for some of you, it could be that maybe one or both of you is already in another relationship, or maybe it's just something really complicated. We also have the Four of Cups here, and the Four of Cups does mean that someone feels unhappy, or I mean, with the Seven of Swords up there, it can also be that someone is just not seeing what is right in front of them, which would be you, or perhaps, you know, your feelings for this person. Maybe they're refusing to take action. Maybe they're refusing to acknowledge their feelings for you. You also have the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands does represent commitment, a long-term relationship, even marriage for some of you. So this can be, you know, a potential relationship that is in the works for you. It just seems like, you know, there's a little bit of a struggle here, but the cards are very much in your favor. And for many of you, since this is the main energy, the King of Pentacles, for many of you, it can be with an earth sign. Again, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. Let's get you a few more so you can get more clarity on this. What other messages are there for the sign of Aries for April? You have the High Priestess. What other messages are there for Aries for April? You have Death. What other messages are there for Aries for April? And the Tower. Okay, so all major arcana here. You know, the High Priestess is always a message of intuition. She's telling you to trust your intuition. It's right next to the Seven of Swords. So, again, it's not for all of you, but if you feel like someone is not being completely honest with you, and it doesn't have to be as in, oh, they're cheating on me, but maybe someone is not telling you how they really feel about you because they're being really stubborn. Remember, I see that here, and I see that here with the Two of Swords. Someone maybe is just not being honest about how they're feeling. Maybe they don't even know. Maybe they're not seeing what is right in front of them. So the High Priestess is saying, trust your intuition, because this is huge. These are the two most dramatic cards in the deck, and they're right next to each other. So I feel like there can be a huge change, huge, for the sign of Aries in April, if you're really just trusting your intuition here, because Death does mean that something could happen in April that will change everything. This is something that will change your life forever. For those who are single, it can definitely be that you meet someone that is either going to be your life partner, the person you spend the rest of your life with, or a very significant relationship that shocks you, the Tower, that comes completely out of the blue. So, I mean, again, with the main energy being a court card, this is significant in some way. You know, with an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. But for those who are already coupled, it could just be that you have to trust your intuition. Death also represents an ending and a new beginning. A huge transformation in a relationship or a marriage. With the Tower saying that, you know, everything can change. It could be that you're in a really difficult place right now because you did start with the Five of Wands. But with the Tower, that can change very quickly. Perhaps, you know, what you need here is more trust. You really have to focus on what you have, because it really does seem like someone is, you know, fighting something within themselves. With the Five of Wands, they're struggling. They could even be lying to themselves. The Seven of Swords also, it actually does represent being your own worst enemy. So someone could be telling you that they don't care, and that's not the truth. Again, this is just working against yourself. But you do have, you know, the Chariot here telling you that there will be significant movement. It's a major arcana, so it's something that definitely will happen. There will be some movement around your love life in the month of April. For some of you, you have, let's see, you have Death, Death can also represent, and ironically, it's right next to the King of Cups, a sign of Scorpio. So for some of you, this can represent your partner, your ex, someone new coming into your life. Again, it's just like there's the energy of people, like new people coming in. Maybe even for those of you who are already coupled, there can still be new people coming in. Let's go ahead and move on to the confirmation deck. What other messages are there for the sign of Aries for April? You have Judgment. What other messages are there for the sign of Aries for April? Nine of Swords. What other messages are there for the sign of Aries for April? And the King of Wands. Okay. What's the most important thing that Aries needs to hear about their love life for April 2019? The Hermit. So the Hermit is telling you that there is a lot of thinking going on. The Hermit represents soul searching, someone trying to figure things out. So this definitely ties in with what we're seeing right here and even right here. So you may not, right now, you may be on pins and needles, kind of trying to figure out what's going to happen. That would be creating the anxiety that we see here, the Nine of Swords. You're imagining the worst. You're imagining maybe that you're not going to be able to work things out if there's a lot of conflict. Maybe you're imagining someone's not going to return. Again, there can be some deceit going on here, and it can be you. Maybe you've convinced yourself of the worst, because now you have, let's see, you have the Nine of Swords and the Seven of Swords. So you could be lying to yourself. Maybe you've become really pessimistic. Maybe you've given up on someone. Maybe you feel like, you might feel like it's over. You might think this just looks really bad. I haven't talked to him in months. It's probably over. Someone's doing a lot of soul searching here. Someone's trying to figure things out. And for some of you, it can be you. Maybe if you walked away from someone, but it can also be a romantic partner. So what I see right here, just these last three cards that I pulled for you, you have Judgment. So Judgment does mean a new beginning. This is a second chance. This card's significant usually when you're looking at a relationship that was over, because it does represent a relationship resurfacing, a relationship coming back to life. So if you've broken up and maybe there's a lot of fear around it with the Nine of Swords, you're agonizing, your energy is right here as a fire sign. I see a new beginning around you, a second chance. Either maybe you're meeting somebody new if you're completely single, or a second chance with a specific person where you imagine the worst. You imagine that this person is gone, they're never coming back. You do have the Sun, so I have to mention that again. There is success, there is positive energy, but you do have to stay in the driver's seat. So don't give in to fear, don't give in to despair, because this might also be you. You just might be really hurt, where you're not really kind of noticing the signs around you. You do have the High Priestess saying that you have to trust your intuition here. There are huge changes, the Tower and Death. There are huge changes around you for the month of April. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the X spread. And I'm going to use this deck right here. I've already shuffled it, so let's go ahead and get these out of the way. But the X spread can be if you were in a significant relationship with someone, but it can also help you if maybe you are dating somebody and you want to know if you can get back together. Maybe you want to know if you're going to hear from someone from the past. And there was a jumping card. Let me show you that one first. The card that jumped was this one, the Page of Wands. So the pages do represent communication. This specific page does represent good news. So again, we're asking about someone who's no longer in your life. So there can be communication, and this is the communication that you want to hear. So you might hear from an ex that they're thinking about you, or that they still love you, or they want to talk. This is good news, but also excitement and change. Let's put him back in there. Okay. Show me the energies around Aries and their ex for April. Interesting. The King of Cups. You definitely have strong water sign energy around you. Show me the energies around Aries and their ex. The Empress, Aries and their ex. Knight of Cups. Show me the energies around Aries and their ex. Four of Pentacles, which is a repeat card. Aries and their ex. Five of Wands, which was the first card from the first spread that I did for you. Aries and their ex. Wow. Page of Wands, the jumping card. Okay, so let's look at these. So what I think is really significant is the King of Cups, the Four of Pentacles, and the Five of Wands. So basically 3 out of 6 cards that I pulled for you are repeats from the first spread that I did. So I mean, I only pulled 6 and 3 are repeats. So these are highly significant for you. So, I mean, the King of Cups again. This was the card that I pulled for you in the first spread. Remember that you also had the energy of Scorpio in there. So for some of you, Scorpio is significant, or perhaps another water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. So this can be your ex, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or it can even represent you, Moon or Rising. So, I mean, let's look at the first row here. If there is no water sign energy, if you don't have any water in your chart, and neither does your ex, the King of Cups does represent emotion. This does represent love. Someone who's really in touch with their intuition, someone who is very much in touch with their own feelings. So this could be the key for some of you to getting your ex back, because although the first row is kind of, it's very positive, the next row, the next three that I pulled, well, actually two of them, and they are repeat cards. There's a struggle going on here with your ex. They're being really stubborn, and perhaps they're fighting themselves. This was your very first card from the first spread that I did for you. So that's very significant. So, I mean, you may not be seeing any big changes with your ex right now, not because they don't care, but because they're fighting something within them. I mean, it can definitely be that, maybe there was a very painful breakup and there's still a lot of conflict there, because the Five of Wands can represent conflict. And this is also a repeat card, they're just being really stubborn, and they're just refusing to budge. Maybe they don't want to apologize. I'll put it here since it's a repeat card. So, I mean, what I see here is, the Empress is telling you the relationship is still there. The energy of the relationship is still there. The Empress does mean you can still have it all with this person, even though they're no longer in your life. And I do see some change here, because the Knights all represent change and movement. And this does represent movement in your relationship with your ex. This is a proposal of some kind. And I feel like it's a proposal to get back together. Because remember that the Page of Wands jumped for you. I showed it to you, I put it back, and then I pulled it again. So this is communication, and this is good news, change, and something very exciting developing between you and your ex. And it is lined up here with the Knight of Cups. So for many of you, you will be hearing from your ex, and you're hearing what you want to hear. So you're not just kind of hearing a rehash of what broke you up, but you're hearing what you want to hear. This is good news. This is change and excitement. And again, there will be some type of proposal, like let's talk, or let's get back together. The Empress is just really standing out, saying that you still have that connection. You can still have everything that you thought you were going to have with this person. It's still there as a possibility, but you still have these energies here, which have repeated themselves. Let's put them like this, since they're repeat cards. The Four of Pentacles has repeated itself. The Five of Wands has repeated itself. And pretty much the Page of Wands has repeated itself too, because it jumped when I was properly shuffling. So there's, kind of somebody here doesn't want to change. So it can be you. Maybe something happened with your ex where maybe, part of you wants them back, but you don't really trust them anymore. Maybe they just burned you too many times, and you just, you don't know, you're conflicted, which is this energy here. This is someone who's just wanting to stay in their safe place, and they refuse to change. So for some of you, it's you. For others, it can be your ex. Hard to say in a general reading. Someone here is just not budging. They're refusing change. Definitely ties in with the Five of Wands. Again, this is the same card. It's just a different deck. There's a struggle with your ex. There's a struggle. For some, it can be conflict. Maybe while you broke up, the conflict is still there. Maybe the arguments that need to be resolved. Communication can definitely happen. Communication can change this energy, because this is also a repeat card. But they can also be fighting themselves, because remember that you did have the Seven of Swords jump for you in the first spread. And the Seven of Swords can be deceit, self-deceit. Someone is lying to themselves. They're sticking their head in the sand because they don't want to look at something, which ironically you also had the Two of Swords. This is like the ultimate card of I don't want to look at it. It's too complicated. I don't want to make a decision. So there can definitely be, a partner, an ex here who's definitely holding back from you. I see it here. I see it here. I see it with the Two of Swords and the Seven of Swords. But you do have communication here. You do have good news. This is the change that you want to see. Let me go ahead and get 2 more cards. What other messages are there for Aries about their ex for April 2019? Hangman. What other messages are there for the sign of Aries for April 2019? The Page of Pentacles. So it's kind of interesting that I pulled another page, again, representing communication. You know, I feel that, I mean, there's definitely stuck energy here. The Hangman. This is being in limbo. This is not moving forward because someone is refusing to change the way that they're thinking. The Hangman is actually, it's actually all about perspective. Someone needs to change the way that they're thinking, and definitely ties in with the Four of Pentacles. Someone is resisting change. But I do see strong energy of communication here, 2 pages. I feel like there will be communication with your ex and some type of proposal here. And you're being told to look at this very, very carefully, because that is really what the Page of Pentacles is about. It's not just about communication. It's about you looking at things very carefully regarding your ex. But I also feel, I mean, it's hard to say in a general reading, but I also get that you may not be hearing from your ex right now, right? So here you're in limbo because they're looking at things very carefully. Because I'm pretty sure, yeah, the main energy for you from the confirmation deck was the Hermit. The Hermit and the Page of Pentacles are very similar, except this is a major arcana right here. I feel like your ex is doing a lot of thinking and they're trying to figure things out. Like it's maybe very complicated. And you might be imagining the worst because you did have the 9 of Swords. You're imagining the worst. You might be thinking they probably forgot about me. They moved on. So you know, you're kind of in a place of limbo, but they're actually doing a lot of thinking here. They're studying maybe their feelings for you. They're thinking about what you had and maybe what broke you up. And, you know, looks can be deceiving here. Because, I mean, you did have the Sun in the first spread, and then you have the Empress, which means everything is still there that you had with your ex. So, I mean, also, if there is no water in your chart, the King of Cups coming up 2 times is showing me that there still is a lot of emotion. There's still a lot of love. And again, I see communication between you and your ex. Okay, Aries, this has been your love reading for April 2019. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll speak to you again next month.